90% of the businesses never make it past 1 million a year in sales, and only 0.4% of all the companies reach 10 million a year in annual sales. Why? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erkka Suvanto. Some of you call me EJ. I'm the guy on social media to build a legacy for his kids and pass on all the life and business lessons to each and every one of you. Let's talk about sales today. To my initial question about why so many businesses fail to reach 1 million a year, the answer is actually quite simple. Because these businesses don't know how to sell and market. There are three key skills that every business owner, entrepreneur needs to master. And I will cover those three briefly and then move on to sales, which is going to be the highlight of today's video. So in order to start a business, besides of course the product and service knowledge that we all need to have depending on what we are selling, but there are three key skills that we need to master, and in this order. Number one, sell. And this is to reach that 1 million mark. Number two, build. Product. 3, lead. To grow and turn your business into a true business. Briefly about each and every one of these. As I mentioned, to sell, there's a reason why we are small. To sell and market in the beginning. Our customers don't know we exist. And so many of the businesses, 9 out of 10, never reach 1 million a year. So they always stay small because they don't know how to sell. The second point is how to learn how to build. We're not talking about building a house, hammering nails. We're talking about building a product or service. It could be, if you're in construction business, yes, it could be in terms of learning how to build a house too. But here we focus on a physical product, a consumer product, or a service. So learn how to build. Of course, an assumption is that if we start a business, we are good at something. We can monetize, we can productize our know-how. But in order to grow the business past 1 million a year and make your product truly stand out in the marketplace, we also need to learn how to build. Last but not least, lead. A business becomes a true business when it grows without its owner. If I start a business, in the beginning I'm self-employed, there's nothing to sell. If I want to sell my asset, my business in the beginning, I'm a solo entrepreneur, one employee company, nobody's going to buy my business. Over time, when I grow my company, I learn how to build processes, hire, retain people, train them, recruit them, make my product excellent, and all of that, it becomes a true business. And that business is an asset that grows while I sleep. Then it can be sold. So in order to grow and turn an initial idea into true business, we also need to learn how to lead. But today's agenda, as promised, was to talk more about sales, which is the initial step. So people understanding, there are 4 rules here that we're going to cover. Rule number 1, and these are my personal lessons over the years. People buy from us when they feel understood, not when they understand you. People buy when they feel understood. When they feel understood. Many salespeople make the mistake of practicing their sales pitch, their presentation. They know all the features about the product, but they forget the customer. Rule number 1 is learn how to listen. Customers come to us for a reason. They have a problem, and they expect the company that we represent to solve that problem. But step number 1 is to listen and then solve their problem. Quite simple, right? Sounds simple, but hard to implement in practice because, as mentioned, many of us make the mistake, me included, I have made it many times in the past, that we practice learning how the features and the product so well that we forget to listen to the customer. My biggest weakness when it comes to sales has been that I talk too much. If I've had a new construction housing project, for instance, I sell apartments or units to home buyers. I've also oftentimes being invited to these construction site showings, and I found myself always talking way too much. I forgot to listen to the customer. Sometimes you need to know when to stop, when enough is enough, and let the sales agent or the customer in this case do the talking and explain to you what is it that they are after, instead of me telling how good the foundation is and how well we have selected the tiles and the hardwood floors and then the kitchen cabinets and everything else. It's listen and then solve the problem. I've sucked at that personally. Then moving on to lesson number 2, there are three major layers of blame that come into play when we talk to sales prospects. So the outer circle is called circumstances. The next one is called people. And the last one is called avoidance. Briefly about each and every one of these. So circumstances, on the outer layer, people always or oftentimes blame somebody else. Let's say I'm on the phone with the prospect and I talk to them about my product or my service. And sometimes we hear them say, okay, well, the government does this or the regulation is that, and all of these external circumstances that prevent them from buying. That's what that means. People, again, blame typically goes somewhere else. It's my partner, it's my spouse, it's my parents, or whatever, who did this and that, so therefore I can't commit to your product or service. So these are all roadblocks to decision making. Why is it that the sales prospect can't make a decision on the phone with you or in a face-to-face meeting? And the last one, avoidance, this would typically be something like, it doesn't work for me. People being skeptical, it's not right for me, this is not the right time. So then the question becomes, okay, how do we solve these? Sometimes this is like a test platform. So the sales prospect is testing the salesperson how well he or she is understanding the other person's problems. Not necessarily intentionally, but unintentionally. Because remembering that there's a reason why these people reach out to you, assuming it's not cold audience or cold outreach, meaning that we reach out to strangers. Assuming there is marketing in place, we run paid ads, for instance, or we're posting content on social media and people approach us. So there's a reason why they approached us. So they want to get their problem solved. These typically are the roadblocks that they are used to explaining to other people why is it that they can't get in shape or lose weight or buy a marketing course or whatever it is that we are selling. So our job is, like mentioned here in number 1, is to listen and solve the problems. Also highlighting that it's about accountability. When there's several layers of blame, as we all know, solution is oftentimes in the mirror. That's where we find all the answers. Okay, moving on. So lesson number 3, help people make a decision, right? Help them make a decision. True sales is not about selling anything, force feeding anything. It's about helping the prospect make a decision. Asking questions like this: what would it take? What would it take for you to feel good about this product? What is stopping you from buying? Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do? How can I help you? Sometimes, under number 3, sometimes no is the best answer. And this is what many people in sales often forget. Maybe after having a 30-minute conversation with the prospect, we come into a conclusion that, look, my product or my service is not going to help you. And a good salesperson with high authority and moral can say no. We are not in the business of trying to force anybody to buy anything. There have been several circumstances or cases in my career when I've bought real estate. It's actually the other way around. So basically, I've been trying to buy somebody's property, but at the same time, I'm selling my services, I'm selling my reputation, I'm selling my solution to a home buyer. So one of the ads that I ran extensively in the US was one where I was promising a fast closing, no commissions or hidden costs to the homeowner. So there was a hook, there was a message, and there was call to action, all of the elements of a good ad, without going into further details. But people basically called me as they were interviewing me, and I was in that phone call, even though I was buying the property, I was at the same time selling my services. So I had to convince these people why I would be a good solution to them, plus why my price made sense. And sometimes, and oftentimes actually, I told these potential sellers that, look, I don't think I'm the right solution for you. Here's what I think you should do. And it's funny when you can almost see a pen drop on the other side of the line, when people realize that, look, this guy is not trying to force anything. So he's actually genuinely, he cares about my property, my well-being, and my financial status. So I always tried, I'm not the world's best salesperson in any way, but what I did understand after talking to several people extensively over the years was that I needed to listen, I need to understand what was it that was unique about their own situation. How could I help them? And then once I understood, and if I saw clearly that my offer price of 150,000, for instance, was way too low for them, and they were just not in a mental state, or their maturity wasn't there, or they had time on their side, or they had other things that they would consider when making that decision to sell, I oftentimes told people that, look, I don't think I can help you. I think you should list the property. I know somebody who can help you in your area. He or she is a very good real estate agent, so please talk to them. And then a few times actually, these people came back to me and they said that, look, I appreciated your honesty and you clearly cared about what was best for us. And I decided to actually sell it to you no matter what. Or then these people listed the property, they couldn't sell it, and then they came back to me and I bought it later. So sometimes no is the best answer we can provide. Then last, number 4, it's about conviction over convincing. Kind of similar to number 3, but kind of different. Conviction means that a salesperson feels so strongly about his or her product that they feel bad if the potential customer doesn't buy from them. So we have so much conviction. We believe in our product. That's very, very crucial. A salesperson needs to genuinely believe that whatever he or she is selling is the best out there. And if not, maybe there's something wrong with the product or with the person and their beliefs. Because we shouldn't be something that's not solving the customer's problem. And another tip, if we ever look at poorly performing sales teams, typically the best question to ask, if we look at track record and data and see that a sales team was performing well and all of a sudden, over a period of a couple of weeks, the performance dropped. What happened? Questions from the sales manager, the salespeople could be like this. What made you stop believing? Why is it that you don't believe in the product anymore? What happened all of a sudden? Is your conviction weaker than what it used to be a couple of weeks ago? Oh, okay, so we changed the pricing model. These and these features, we got feedback from the customers that we have poor quality in the marketplace. Our field failure rate is way too high. So that changed. So what stopped you from believing anymore? These 4 learnings, hopefully they are helpful to you. Remember, as far as the skill set goes for a starting entrepreneur, in this order: sell, build, and lead. Because there's a reason why we are in that sub 1 million category. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I would highly appreciate it. Thank you, and until next time.